Hello dear viewers, welcome to e-learning. Subscribe to our SCOP Academic YouTube channel and turn on notification. Dear viewers, in this video we will go through the clinical research protocol. The contents are introduction, content of the research protocol as per ICH E3 GCP 6 guidelines. What is a protocol amendment? What is a protocol violation? And summary of the key points associated with the clinical research protocol. This video deals with the contents of the research protocol as per the ICH E3 GCP 6 guidelines. So whenever one has to go for clinical research, before that he has to think that what, where, when, why and who. That means all these questions and the answer to these questions that will comprise is the clinical research protocol. The research protocol must clearly and succinctly describe the following aspects of the research study: what will be done in the study, where the study will be done. For multi-site trials, site-specific information may be incorporated into local protocol versions. Who is involved in research study, when study interventions will take place, and why the study is being done. The different contents associated with the clinical research protocol are as follow: general information, background information, study objectives, purpose, study design, selection and withdrawal of participants, treatment of participants, assessment of efficacy, assessment of safety, statistics, direct access to source data or documents, quality control and quality assurance, ethics, data management, financing and insurance, publication policy, and some of the supplementary information. The protocol should contain enough information to provide a clear and complete but not overly detailed description of the study. Further details should appear as discussed earlier in the documents such as the operations manual, standard operating procedures, quality assurance plan, training plan, and data management plan. To ensure that research protocols include the appropriate sections and contents, a sponsor may develop a standardized template for investigators to use for each type of study. For example, a research network has developed such templates to assist investigators in preparing research protocol documents for network-specific trials. For NIH, that is National Institute of Health, funded studies under an investigational new drug, there is a protocol template available at the following NIH website. The protocol generally covers the following topics associated with the ICH GCP E6 guidelines. The first is the general information. The general information associated with the protocol: title, identifying number, version number and date, name and address of the sponsor and monitor if other than the sponsor monitor is, name and title of the person authorized to sign the protocol and the protocol amendment for the sponsor, name and title of the investigators responsible for conducting the study and the address and telephone numbers of the trial sites, name, title, address and telephone number of the sponsor's medical expert, name, title, address and telephone number of the qualified physician who is responsible for all study related medical decisions, name and addresses of all institutions involved in the study, including clinical laboratories and other medical or technical departments, addresses and telephone numbers of all clinical laboratories and or institutions involved in the trial. The background information associated with the clinical research protocol consists of a detailed description of the issue the study is addressing as well as its public health significance, findings from clinical and non-clinical studies that may be significant to the proposed study, summary of the known potential risks and benefits to human participants, a statement that the trial will be conducted in compliance with the protocol (GCP) and the applicable regulatory requirements, description of the study population, references to relevant literature and data. This will often be compiled in a separate section in the protocol. If the study involved the use of an investigational product or therapy, the name and description of the investigational product or therapy should be there. Description of and justification for the route of administration, dosage, dosage regimen, and treatment period should be there. The study objectives and purposes of the clinical research protocol consist of a detailed description of the major primary and minor secondary and explanatory objectives and the purpose of the trial. Study design. The scientific integrity of the study and the credibility of the data obtained from the study largely depends on the study design. This section of the protocol should describe primary and secondary endpoints to be measured and how they will be measured. Study type, example double-blind, with a schematic diagram of the study design, procedures and the stages involved. Measures that will be taken to avoid or minimize bias, for example randomization and blinding. Dosage and dosage regimen, dosage form, packaging and labeling of investigational products. Expected duration of participant participation, sequence and duration of all study periods including follow-ups. Stopping rules or discontinuation criteria for individual participants, parts of the study and the entire study. Accountability procedures for the investigational product including the placebo and comparator. Maintenance of study treatment, randomization codes and procedures for breaking codes. Identification of any data to be recorded directly on the CRFs and considered to be source data. Selection and withdrawal of participants. Criteria for inclusion and exclusion of participants. Procedures for withdrawal of participants, that is participant or investigator initiated. When and how to withdraw participants from the study, investigational product treatment, type and timing of data to be collected for participants who withdraw from the study, whether and how participants are to be replaced. Follow-up for participants withdrawn from trial treatment. Treatment of participants. Treatment associated with pharmacological treatment. It includes names of all products to be administered, their doses, dosing schedule, methods of or routes of administration, whether it is oral or intramuscular, other medications or treatments permitted, including rescue medication, and not permitted before and during or after the study. Other interventions associated with chiropractic, physical therapy, social therapy, behavioral therapy, and counseling. Name of intervention, that is motivational interviewing, cognitive behavioral therapy, frequency of sessions, duration of each sessions, method of each intervention, for example, individuals or group, treatment adherence, and all interventions associated and their periods of intervention, including follow-up periods for participants in each group, procedure for monitoring participant compliance, identification of who will administer an intervention, assessment of efficacy. This section describes the methods that will be used to determine the success of the treatment, including criteria for determining the treatment's effectiveness, methods and timing for assessing, recording, and analyzing the effectiveness criteria. So, in this particular video, we had gone through the first 6 different studies and the information related with them in the form of general information, background information, study objectives and purposes, study design, selection and withdrawal of participants, treatment of participants, assessment of efficacy, and assessment of safety. For remaining 6, we have to go through next video. Thank you. For further reading, the viewers has to go through the references given on this slide. Thank you for watching. Take care and happy e-learning.